What's going on, family? It's your boy Miami Patron back for another video, and I am in beautiful Wynwood, Miami at my favorite cafe, Joe's and the Juice. So the title of this video is how this one mistake cost me a $1,500 a month client and how you can avoid this single mistake. It's being careful who you bring on to your business as a freelancer or as a third-party service. Running a Facebook marketing agency or social media marketing agency, right? You meet a friend or you bring on another business, right? And they say, hey, let me do something for your business, right? And what you gotta do is you have to do your due diligence to make sure that person does a good job for you and for your client. I was a client for $1,500 a month, a gym down in South Miami. And I met a friend here in Miami. He has an Instagram growth company, and one of the things I don't do is I don't personally do Instagram growth. I do the ads, I do, you know, all the marketing, sales funnels, all that kind of stuff, but I don't actually do the Instagram growth itself. So what I did was I used this as an upsell for most of my clients. I say, hey, I can grow your Instagram accounts, and it just adds more value to my brand. So I outsourced this to my friend. I've known this guy for a few months now. He's doing really well here in Miami. So I trusted this guy to go ahead and he's actually been growing my own personal account. So he's been working with me for 4 months growing my own personal account. And so I brought this guy in for my first client. So rule number one that I learned is when you bring in another company or say a freelancer or something under your belt to represent you, your client is still doing business with you and not the company. I have the relationship with that client. So if anything goes south, it's not so much the you know, my friend or the freelancer that came in. It's my fault because I was the one that brought in the reputation, the credibility, saying, hey, you know, whatever service I'm bringing to you is of my tier and my quality. Okay, so that's one thing that's really key that you have. So I brought in this company to help me out with one of my clients. And right off the bat, things weren't working well. It took almost 2 weeks just to get the client onboarded, right? So my client paid the money, right? Their monthly fee, got them onboarded and stuff. It took them almost 2 weeks just to get, you know, the client rolling. I'm handling my own business already. I'm getting new clients. I'm running my own ads, all that kind of stuff. So I don't want to have to like deal with their problems, as in, you know, getting a client onboarded or any of that kind of stuff. The point of this is not so much to talk about the actual service, Instagram growth. It's talk about doing your due diligence when you're bringing in a freelancer or somebody else to work a service underneath your company or your name, or white labeling is what it's called. White labeling another service under your company. I promised my client that the leads were going to be local, that you're paying for these Instagram growth to turn them into leads. It turns out 2 weeks in, he's not even onboarded. When the followers still start coming in, they're not even from this country. Like it was a little bit of a mess. They didn't want to refund him his money back. I'm like, guys, I let you know 2 days, 4 days in advance that he wanted to cancel. You drafted it anyways. It's only been like an hour or two since you drafted it. You know, as soon as they got drafted, I called them. I was like, hey, let's draft him his money, and they didn't want to draft their money back. Draft him his money back. So it put a lot of tension out there between me, my client, and this other company. Short story short, I had to refund him. I had to refund the client because he was like, you know what, I'm tired and sick of this. He went off, like he was not happy with it. He ended up canceling not only their service, he canceled my service because I brought this company in to represent me. So, and I also had to refund that company's portion of what they charged because they didn't want to refund him. So I had to refund them their portion of the Instagram growth, plus I had to refund the client my portion of that month's due, which is he was paying me almost $1,500 a month because of this one small little problem. It made me look, because remember, I brought them in, I had the relationship with this client, I vouch for these people. It's like, yo, I didn't provide value for this customer, and it just ultimately, it was just a bad scene where honestly this customer really, you know, it really hurt me because this customer really believed in me. He really gave me a chance. He really believed in this whole Instagram growth, man. When I came in and I prospected and I walked in one day, I was like, hey, this is what I do. He's like, dude, I've been looking for somebody like you. He was so pumped up for everything that I provided for him and what I promised him. And when everything went south with like the Instagram growth, the leads coming in just like, you know, a little bit slower, and just like it was a mess that really, he was ultimately disappointed. And after speaking to him on the situation, I told him up front, like, hey, I trusted these guys. Like when somebody screws you, they're probably gonna screw you again sometime in the future. Definitely learn from the experience. I learned that relationships are way more valuable than a dollar. That's something that's so key. For example, I just got a phone call today from a client that I prospected maybe 2 months ago, and he just called me and said, hey, I'm opening up 2 more locations. I want you to put together a marketing plan. guys, this could be a $3,000 to $5,000 a month project. And this client here knows 4, 5, 6 of my other clients because I'm in a gym niche, so all my clients know each other. So imagine if I was to screw one of my other clients or something like that, my clients would all find out and they would know. So I'm very careful to, you know, if a client wants a refund, I refund them the money. Even if I didn't have the money at the time, I still refunded them, and I figured it out on the back end because it's all about building a relationship and having a high standard of business ethic. The clients respect that. The client that I ended up refunding that money to, she paid me $1,000 a month. She asked for the refund. That was my rent money for that month. I didn't even have that. I ended up giving it back to her, and she ended up referring me to somebody else, and I closed that business. Because there's a level of respect when they say, hey, you know what? I need, you know, I'm closing business or whatever. Can you give me a refund? You refund them the money. It shows a level of business. If I can just teach you one thing from this $1,500 a month mistake, due diligence. If you bring somebody in to do freelance under your company, that's one. Secondly, is relationships are way more valuable than $1. Maintain relationships and communication with your clients. If they want a refund for whatever reason, give them the refund. It's gonna build your rapport, and your name's gonna get out there because your client will probably know. Say you're trying to close a client one day, that client probably knows each other, and stuff always happens. And it's always good to know that you did a good job for that client on the exit out. Or hopefully this helped you out so you don't make this mistake as well, because this could have been a way more expensive mistake. The sun's starting to come in a little bit. This could have been a way more expensive mistake. I see this as a learning opportunity, not a loss, because I think of it as like, imagine I have a bigger company, right? This could have been an experience where it could have been a $100,000 loss or $1 million loss. Say we're doing a big contract, something like this happens, and I end up refunding $100,000, or it's a bigger job. So this one couple $100 mistake was a learning experience, and I wanted to get this on video to share with you, put some content out there so you guys can grow your agency, learn, get better, and learn from what my mistakes are doing.